Welcome, beautiful souls, to Ask the Oracle. Today we're stepping into a field of angelic light with the absolutely radiant Anna Grace Taylor, beloved angel therapist, author, and channel of heavenly wisdom. We'll be exploring intuition, manifestation, and the gentle ways our angels guide us every single day. Plus, a really gorgeous look inside Anna's newest Oracle deck, Messages of Angels, Heavenly Wisdom and Support. So take a breath, soften your heart, and open to the messages meant just for you. Let's begin. Hi, Anna. Welcome back to Ask the Oracle, my love.
Thank you so much, Susie. What a delight to be back.
So excited to have you back. We get to chat, which is really wonderful.
We do. I feel like it's a nice reunion, isn't
A
it?
beautiful reunion. Yay. And, we were just talking about, you can't make this up. We're here on I'm at night and Anna's in the morning, but it's actually a full moon. So it's the flower full moon. And it's just such a beautiful divine time to have a chat. Yeah.
It is. It's also, as we're recording, it's the beginning of May. It feels, I really just love the energy of this time of year, especially for us on the Northern Hemisphere, because we're really welcoming more light. It's a beautiful sunny day here where I am, and I just feel really connected to the possibilities and miracles of life at this time of year.
I love that. So beautiful. So, my love, can't wait to talk to you about your gorgeous new deck. And I know that it's the second half of those beautiful messages that are from your book, actually, but really, really beautiful. And let's dive deep into these questions. So, what inspired you to create Messages of Angels, Heavenly Wisdom and Support? Yeah.
Yeah, so as you said, you're right, absolutely. So back during COVID times, I self-published a book called Messages of Grace, which were really came from the fact that I'd been sharing lots of angel messages over on my social media, really starting because I wanted to connect with the angels about all sorts of different things, and they became messages of comfort for me. And then obviously I shared them with others. And during COVID, friends said to me, "Why don't you put them all in a book?" And so I did. And then our publisher, Blue Angel, a couple of years ago said to me, "Oh, how about actually putting them all in two decks of cards?" So, Messages of Grace that I shared with you a few months ago as the first one with the same name, and then because we wanted a whole new energy for the second half, this one is Messages of Angels with more beautiful artwork by Parita Naran. You're holding up the first one, I've got the second one. So actually, if you want to have both decks, you end up with 100 different messages from the
Amazing.
angels, and they're all varied, lots of different themes. So they're all in the same theme of talking directly to you from the angels. They're channeled messages, and they all end with "We love you, your angels." But yeah, so I'm just really excited actually now that the second one is out, because it feels that you can really have them as a whole energy. Really, it kind of covers so many
Wait,
different
doesn't it?
bases that, so if you want both decks, you could even mix them all up and have
Oh,
them,
there you go.
some people
Yeah,
I know have had them in like a big bowl together, and then you just pick a card every day and have 100 together. Sometimes even
fabulous.
for me, if I'm with my clients, I'll do pull a card from each deck. Or, there's other people that didn't even know that I had the other deck and have just found one of them. So it's worked really well. It's really lovely.
I love that. They came out fairly close together as well. They're very, very
Yes.
complementary. I love the cover of the second deck with the beautiful kind of greens. And of course,
I
this one's
know.
very
To me, it
luminous with
kind
the
of
lilac.
represent.
Yeah.
I wanted green because to me it represented a lot of healing energy, and I
Oh, I
love
agree.
green with Raphael. I love the green of, again, new beginnings and
The green of the
nature.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah, green for the heart
Green
chakra.
of
So I just
nature.
feel exactly. Green feels to me just very soothing and calming. And then, of course, and absolutely love the color of the sort of purples and pinks of the messages of grace. So yeah, I really, as you say, they're sisters together, aren't they?
They're
They go
like twin
together really
sisters,
nice. Yeah,
absolutely. And
exactly.
I just love, Angel Raphael, that beautiful healing energy, the energy of the heart and the beautiful green coming through. So it's so worth having both decks, I think, because they're complementary. And as you said, you'll end up with 100 very unique messages. And I must admit that every time I pull a card from your deck, Anna, the message is quite potent, quite profound, and quite unique as well. And very to the point too. I kind of like that,
Yeah, you kind of know
it's
what
very
you're
to the
getting,
point.
don't you? There's
Right.
no sort of
Yeah.
guessing about it. Yeah.
I love that.
You
So,
you know sometimes when you
yeah,
pull a card, because
yeah,
obviously, it's depending on what your deck is based on, there might be a lot of meaning in the booklet, or there might be sort of different meanings that everyone could kind of discover through their own journey. These are, you pull a card, you read the message, and mostly, it's going to be fairly self-explanatory. So it's a really no-brainer way to connect with the angels, I think.
I
Yeah.
totally, totally agree. Very succinct, very potent, quite on point too, like it kind of like it's not, it's a very clear message,
Yes.
really beautifully written, because I think
Oh.
to actually write in a clear and simple way is actually more challenging than like, writing like reams of, whatever, that can be
Yeah,
totally
sometimes actually
insignificant,
to cut it down to a few, couple of
Yes,
hundred words is actually harder
I
because you want
agree.
to say so much, but actually you want to say, well, if I could only say 100 or 200 words, what would I say? And yeah, I've always found that when I was at school, people would say, you're only allowed to write 400 words, and I'd be editing half my work because I'd written too much.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
but
totally
actually,
relate
I
to
have to
that.
say it does go well. I mean, I think this is why the messages worked so well on my Facebook page and my social media before I published the book, because I've always loved poetry. I've always loved
Yes,
lyrics. I write song lyrics. So,
obvious.
um,
Yeah,
so,
you're a
so to
poet.
me,
Yeah,
this is kind of almost a similar
I
thing. And
know
when the
what you
angels
mean.
talk to me, we all have obviously a different voice that comes through. And I always remember thinking, well, it must be the angels because I wouldn't say it like that. Um,
That's right.
but but it feels that similar kind of, here's the message. We're going to put it in a really, as you say, succinct way, but also in a way that people can understand. It doesn't feel too
Yeah,
complicated either. So
exactly.
it feels like they come through to me in a way that I'm going to really connect with. And that's how it works, isn't it? Because
It
ultimately,
does.
obviously, there is a filter. We are the filter, we are the
That's
human.
right. Yeah,
But equally, you can feel that loving energy that is slightly different to, say,
I
how you
totally
and I
agree.
speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very reassuring energy, like
Yes.
comforting,
Mm.
um, even if it's delivering, the light and the shadow, like, but it's just so, yeah, I think it's just very, very reassuring, actually, the messages. So,
Loving
yay,
and
loving.
supportive. And,
That's
of
it.
course, there's going to be challenges. There are some messages in there about, really challenging things like, when you're grieving or when you're feeling
Yeah,
guilt, shame, and envy. And,
yeah,
particularly with this second deck, actually, I don't know quite why it worked that way, but it does feel the slight difference, I think, between this deck, although there is a variety, this deck does have some of those quite the deeper sort of emotions in there compared to the first one.
oh,
Again, it wasn't
interesting.
necessarily
I
conscious
definitely
in
have
that
to get that
way.
second deck. I don't have it yet. I plan to get it.
Ah.
I've got the first deck, which I absolutely adore.
Oh, oh,
So
thank you. I
looking
love your
forward to
deck.
getting
I've
the
got your moon
second.
one and I absolutely love it. It's so powerful. I mean, again, there's such depth in there. But yeah, so for me, that's the difference, I would say.
Yeah.
Just from looking at them myself recently, because sometimes you forget what's in there. You're like, oh, I've
Oh, for
forgotten that
sure.
message. So,
You may have
but I
written it
do
how long
find,
ago?
things like, as we said, guilt and shame,
Yeah.
they talk about envy, they talk about, when there's an ending in our lives, that kind of thing. And it just there's a little bit more of a, yeah, perhaps part of our shadows kind of being addressed in there. And that in that way, if you're wanting a little bit more of those kinds of emotional messages, I would say that this deck, the Messages of Angels deck, is a really lovely one to go for.
I love that. You must be psychic because I was going to ask you what the difference was, and you've explained it really beautifully. Like they're
Oh,
complementary. It's 100
oh.
messages from the same beautiful book, and you've made the messages quite succinct and potent. But you've explained there, there is a difference with the two different decks as well. Like the second deck does have that kind of light and shadow,
Yeah.
that depth to it.
I mean,
So
again, they're all different, but it feels that way. It feels like the second
you don't
deck
have a
just has that.
favorite. I don't have a favorite. Like people say to me, "What's your favorite deck?" And I go, "Well, it's my new favorite because it's my new." You don't have a favorite child.
Exactly. It's like a child. You can't really have a
No, you can't.
favorite.
That's it.
Although,
Oh,
as you
dear.
say, there is an excitement around a new deck. And so, therefore, you kind of, because you've shared the first one a lot, or in your case, several, when you have a new one, it just feels like there's a fresh energy behind it, doesn't there? So,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I think you've explained too how they complement each other, but I guess if you were to use both decks together, I love your idea of popping both decks in an actual bowl and picking out like a beautiful message each day or an insight each day. Is there
Mm.
another way that you can kind of like work, in kind of merge the two
In
decks together,
tandem.
do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if I'm in a session with a client, so what I often do is have both decks out and I'll ask for some guidance for that client of mine, but I'll do a card from each one. And
Yeah.
so often, as you know, because you can't make it up and the angels are talking to us, so
Yeah.
often they will literally either mirror what each one says or they will be a sort of a journey for the client. Obviously, my cats have just flown across the screen. Um,
I love that.
there's like a journey to be had. For example, one might be the emotion that they're feeling, and the other
Yeah.
one might be a step that they could take or something that they
Okay.
could move towards. So,
Yeah.
because you can't ever make it up, and there's, real divine timing with everything, I always feel like without me even knowing, the angels will just give my client their messages. And equally, I just saw a lovely friend of mine in London, and she very graciously said to me in her own event that we could put an angel card in everyone's chairs. So there was 500 or over 500 people that received one of my angel
Oh,
cards. And they
wow.
didn't know who I was because it was literally just an angel card in every person's deck. But afterwards, so many people came up to her and said, "Oh my gosh, the message for me was just completely what I needed to hear." And there was one yesterday I heard from a lady celebrated her 40th birthday on that particular day, and she got number 40 sitting on her chair.
Oh,
So
wow. I love those
you can't make that
synchronistic.
up, can
You
you?
can't,
No.
no, like, yeah, I love that so much. And
Just
how wonderful. How lucky are
synchronicity.
they? Mm,
Amazing. And it was just so
amazing.
lovely for me because
Right.
people, really didn't know anything about it. It wasn't a planned thing, but it just felt so lovely because I keep getting all these little stories about how the message meant something to them. And that to me is worth so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I'd really love for you to share a favorite card or message from the deck and why it feels so special to you. Yeah.
Oh, I was pulling a few cards this morning, and I would say at the moment, just because of how I feel, and this one has come up quite a lot recently for when I do my daily angel messages. It's number 15, and it says "Don't give up."
Love that.
And this, should I read it for you? Should I read it
Yes,
to you?
please.
Don't give up before your miracle happens. We are continually working behind the scenes for you once you ask, and then your job is to have faith that it's all working out in your favor because it always is. Even if you don't know how or if the outcome looks slightly different from what you expected. When you ask, remember to say this or something better so that you stay open to the best for yourself. We see the bigger picture of your life and are likely bringing you something more wonderful than you can imagine. We love you. You're angels.
Oh, it's so good. Things do
So
have a way of working out. Yeah.
yeah, I love that because I think at this point in my life, I have felt a real coming back to some of my big dreams or the things that, even if they haven't necessarily worked out how I thought that they would, to not let that limit what I think may be possible for me in the rest of my life. For example, I think
Exactly.
sometimes I've had hurts or disappointments or really big heartaches, and I've put them all in a box and I've said, well, therefore, that means all of those dreams won't come true, or all of those things that I really wanted. And there was a period of time, I think, that I've just been aware that I didn't really dream that big, or I didn't have the same excitement about my future. And I really feel like I'm starting to reconnect to that. So and when I read it the other day, I thought, you know what, we all need a bit of that, don't we? Because I think it can
Yeah.
be so easy when life is hard, there's lots going on, things are really difficult in the world, to constrict ourselves, to make ourselves feel small, to somehow protect ourselves from more pain or more, anguish. But actually, the angels are saying, come on, keep dreaming, keep feeling into that possibility. So, yeah, that feels lovely for me right now.
You're so expansive, Anna, to,
Yeah.
realize that, is it even a disappointment? Is it happening for you, not to you, for your own spiritual growth, and not to let that kind of, dim your own light. I love that, honey, that you've realized, like it's really interesting because I feel like I'm going through that at the moment as well, like that kind of realization that, yeah, you know, just because something doesn't quite work out the way you thought it would, that there's things have a way of working out anyway, like, and to not stop dreaming, Yeah, love
Exactly. And
that.
also our mind, our ego loves to, as
Yes.
you say, to kind of make us really wrong if that stuff
Hmm.
doesn't happen, or, that somebody else has it all and we've done something that means that we've, blocked it, or, that we're not good enough. And actually it's so much more than that, isn't it? Life, as you say, is working for us, and perhaps something that, is important to us at the time later on might not be so. And of course, there are going to be things that always are, and we don't always know the reason for things. But yeah, we can sometimes place importance, I think, on the outside stuff. And actually, when you come back to
Exactly.
the feeling of what brings us joy, or what is beautiful in the moment, or the things that are simple that actually are really big, then we come back to the truth, don't we? Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Love that. Well, it was interesting because from your Messages of Grace deck, this beautiful deck here, I actually picked number 25, Mother Nature.
Mm.
And it's kind of very complementary to that. So this is actually a really good example of how Anna's decks work together, and it's Mother Nature. If you need a new perspective or inspiration, we encourage you to get outside in nature. It is here you will often be more able to receive our guidance clearly and feel connected to all the abundant possibilities of life. If you could do with feeling more grounded, do not underestimate the power of hugging a tree or walking directly on the earth. Feel the energy of beautiful Mother Earth and let her support you. And I love that all your cards end with "We love you, your angels." So beautiful. Love that so
Mm.
much. Yeah.
Well, because that was my way of reminding my people on my Facebook page and my Instagram that it was an angel message, that the angels wrote the note to me from the angels, and it wasn't
Oh, yeah,
me
good
just sort
point.
of coming up with, a little note, although you could see it as a loving message if that's what you want to see it as. But for me, it was always like the angels writing to me. And you're right. I mean, we're talking on a full moon right now. We just talked about how lovely the seasons are. And so
Yes.
this is a reminder, because if you get outside in nature, even if it's cold weather or, it's not, it actually is always expansive. It reminds us of the vastness, doesn't it, of the planet
Yeah.
that we live on. It reminds us that there's always cycles. Like I feel like I'm really coming out of hibernation because I've just been in winter and I'm
We're
in
about
the
to go
spring
into
and
hibernation.
summer, and yours is the other way round. So isn't it amazing? And
It
and
is
I think that's
amazing,
why I
that
always end up
duality.
talking. Yeah, I end up
Yeah, yeah.
talking about these kinds of things at this time of year because my natural instinct is to be out in
Yes.
the world right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Now, I love that you explained that you actually channel the messages from the angels, and that's one of the reasons why you finish your cards with that same affirmation, we love you, your angels. So beautiful. What intention do you hold while channeling the messages for this deck? So,
I really, because I didn't know that it was going to be a book or a deck when I did the messages, I just wrote them for me. So I would literally say to the angels, Angels, what would you like me to know today? And
love that. Yeah.
sometimes I would do it very generally like that. And sometimes I would say, I'm having a really hard time with this. Can you share something with me? Um, there was one actually about vulnerability, and I remember years ago I wrote it. I've got it right here because it's one of my favorites. And we all have
Oh, I'd
those
love you to
moments that
share
feel
that. Yeah.
really tender. And
Yeah.
again, it felt very loving. It was like a best friend was talking to me, and it felt like I could feel safe in vulnerability. So, anyway, this is what it says. It's number 12 from my messages of angels cards. It's lovely
It's beautiful
green
greens. Love
um,
that.
color. I love the color of
Stunning.
this deck
Oh my
here. Yeah.
goodness. I love that
It
deck.
says, your vulnerability, as you call it, may feel profoundly exposing and scary. We honor your fear as we do every part of your experience, but being honest about your feelings is a must. Your truth, however uncomfortable it seems, will indeed set you free, and there is no greater gift. We angels love you unconditionally and rejoice in the moments when you allow others to see who you are, tears and all. For there is nothing that could match the beauty and perfection of a raw, truthful heart as it opens up to more love. We love you, your angels. Yeah.
I just got goosebumps. That's a really deep message. And there's so much strength in vulnerability. And I know that you're very authentic. And I know that you've overcome, some challenges, and you do that so gracefully. But to actually have a card that's channeled from the angels about vulnerability is so healing for so many, you know. Um, yeah, that's such a
Oh, I
great
can
message,
suddenly feel
Anna.
the angels really close when you say that. I've got goosebumps now as well.
Yeah.
And that's what's really lovely for me because I did write these messages, some of them a long time ago. Sometimes I forget, and I read them as if they're really speaking to me in that moment because it really isn't me in that moment writing a message, it's writing for me. So when I read these back, I feel that I get that same feeling of being hugged, particularly when it is a message like that. And I'm always in my vulnerability. I feel like life is outside of my comfort zone, to be honest. I feel like being a human is like, oh gosh, how do I do that? So to me, those moments just remind me that I'm loved through it all. Yeah.
I really love that the message is so significant to you from the angels. But of course, if it's significant for you, Anna, it's going to be significant for others. Yeah.
Yes, and that's what I think was so important to me when I realized that I was going to put this together, because obviously there were lots of other messages as well that I could have chosen. I really noticed that when I shared some of them, they just felt so universal and very, it was a reminder that we're all going through the same stuff, aren't
Oh,
we? You
without a
know, it's
doubt.
not
Yeah.
just me that's having a struggle.
No.
It's not
Oh,
just
yeah.
you that needs to be reminded that we need to don't not give up on our dreams. Actually, we all do, don't we? And yeah, I always think that every time I'm sharing something, actually, is that this is why I share, my human experiences and the things that I go through, because definitely, if I'm experiencing something, and because I really believe that like attracts like, people on my pages or on my mailing list or in my
Yeah.
classes, they're going to go, oh yeah, yeah, okay, thank you so much, now I don't feel so alone. And that's part of it, isn't it? A huge part of it, actually.
Massive
Yeah.
part of it. And of course, it kind of creates that space for compassion
Yes.
and all that beautiful energy. I love that. I want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about manifestation and co-creation. How do
Yes.
angels support us in manifesting our dreams, goals, wishes, desires, and soul-aligned dreams? Like, how does that
Yeah, well,
work?
coming back to again, if we're in a space, first of all, that we're having a difficult time or we feel like we've been disappointed, like we just said, sometimes the first step is to ask the angels to help you have faith in your dreams, to help you to actually
Mm.
start to dream
Oh, I like
again,
that. Yeah,
and to
clever.
really begin, like, what is important to me? What do I want that is not what somebody else said I wanted? Not, so first of all, to me, the first step is that clarity of, what is it that my heart, my soul is calling me towards, and me, as a unique person, because of course we all want to feel a certain way, like joy and peace and
Yeah.
contentment, but each of our experiences is so different. So coming back to clarity and sometimes just asking the angels to give you that clarity about what's important is the first step. And also then just gratitude. So for me,
Yeah.
again, connecting to what's already in my life as a blessing, the kinds of miracles that I can see in each moment. I look out the window right now and I can see a gorgeous tree. The sky is really blue. I'm talking to you. I'm so grateful for that. And it instantly opens my heart. My vibration feels raised. My energy feels so much
Yeah.
better. So that therefore I can really start to tap into, oh, and oh yeah, you know what? That would else would be really great. And oh goodness, actually, because I feel good, I'm going to feel inspired. And then the next
Yes,
step is often action, isn't it? What action can I take
that's right.
towards the thing that I really want? Because we can dream really big, but we live in a human world, don't we? So sometimes it's
Yes,
also really taking that guided action, that one step at a time. Okay, angels, give me one step that I can take
yes,
towards my dreams. And then often, of course, we have to keep listening for what that is each time, really trusting I'm listening to that guidance. I'm going to take that action. And then the other big part of it, isn't it? Like we said, divine timing, surrender to
that's it.
how it happens, letting go of how it
Yeah,
might come to pass, and
yeah.
then really just having faith and being as present as you can. Yeah.
Beautiful in a nutshell, have that faith, have that, the why do I want this? Get
Clarity
really
and
super
yeah,
clear, the clarity, so
yeah.
important.
And then
And
just
the
listening to
steps
each
forward.
step.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
You don't have to see the whole staircase, just that next step, right? So,
Exactly. And
um,
sometimes you could have what somebody called the other day is like what feels like a really impossible, like this would be a
big
massive
dream.
miracle that
Yeah, do it.
I can't even
Yeah,
comprehend. And that's when we really do have to say, I don't even know any of the how, and it's not my job to work out the how, but
yeah.
I'm still going to dream and I'm still going to say, this is what I would love. And actually, do you know what is a really big manifestation story that I don't think I've even told you, and I'm not even sure if I've told Tony this. So this is a bit of an exclusive, but I remember years ago saying to my angels, I would really like to create an angel card deck because obviously I had
There
used
you
them
go.
for years. I've always used angel cards. And I've got several Blue Angel decks way before I was published by them. And about I would say it must be a couple of years ago because it was around the time that Tony contacted me and said, Anna, would
Yes.
you like to do these cards with me? I went on to a Pinterest board that I had created, which is really like a digital vision board I had
Pretty
created.
much.
And
Yeah.
guess what was on that Pinterest board? The Blue Angel logo. And I had completely forgotten that I even
Wow.
asked for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sensational. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That,
again, I think it's because I really wanted to do it, but I
yeah.
didn't push for it. I
You
wasn't
didn't
so
act the
attached to it that I was
how's it going to
really
happen?
forcing
Yeah.
anything. I
Yeah.
didn't contact them. They contacted me. And I just suddenly went, oh my gosh, it's really happened. And this was years ago. This is a
That's so
long
great,
time
Anna.
ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly how it works, like have that beautiful vision and don't get too caught up in the logistics or how's it all going to happen. And I
Yeah.
love that you actually explained, that dreaming big as well, because often we do manifest, but we manifest to what we think's kind of really realistic, when often those beautiful bigger dreams, like allow yourself to dream big, yeah?
Yeah, I think so because, as somebody said, at least it's going to help you to feel really excited and grateful and anticipating good things. Whereas if you don't at all, nothing is going to feel expansive, is it? So I always feel like I'd rather dream than not. Yeah.
Exactly. He did touch on surrender, and I
Yeah.
think surrender plays a big part in that co-creation, that manifestation. So, do you want to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, in fact, I don't think I have the card with me, but really I remember that the angel said surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of how we think something is going to happen. It means letting go so that they can intervene and create space for miracles. So it's not saying I'm never going to do anything about this. It's not saying I'm going to give up and it's never going to happen and thank you, but bye. Or it's not saying that we, are powerless. It's saying that I don't know the whole picture and that when I say, you do this, angels, you help me, you figure it out,
Yeah.
what you're doing is giving them permission to really create something amazing for us. Yeah.
I love that so much. And I think sometimes we get in our own way when we go, it has to come a certain way. And really, what we're doing is we're kind of like minimizing the opportunities. So
Yeah.
I love that you explained that, have that big dream. And of course, you've got to action it at some point, have that faith in action, totally. But I think it's about sometimes we sort of like make it complicated, or it's like, well,
Yes.
I could do that thing, but if I don't want to really do it that way. And
Yes,
I just
exactly.
visualize
Basically,
the angels up
we're
there
acting
going,
like we have control of the universe, aren't we?
that's
We
right.
all think we have control, and the angels. And one of the messages I can't remember is basically says, that your anxiety is an effort to try to control the universe, and you
Oh,
never
without a
had
doubt.
control in the first place. Yeah.
That's
So,
it.
and I always like to go, oh yeah, I don't know about you, but sometimes my mind loves to try and control all the things. So yeah, and also as well, some to me, coming back to surrender, sometimes surrender is accepting the hard things too.
Yeah.
Sometimes surrender is, you know what, I am having such a hard time right now. I am on my knees. I don't know what else to do. I can't do this anymore, angels,
Yeah.
on my own. And what you're really saying is, as a human, this is too much to try to figure out. You
Yeah.
help me. And sometimes that is just as powerful in the really dark moments as well. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's profound. Yeah. Can you tell a story where angelic guidance actually led to a powerful or kind of like unexpected manifestation or miracle? Because I know the angels are good at miracles.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Blue Angel story is pretty cool. It's why
That's
you and I
pretty
are
cool.
talking right now,
I
isn't
can't
it?
believe that
It's
Blue
pretty cool.
Angel
But I would
logo
also
was on your vision board. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But yeah, another one would be actually when I first decided that I wanted to take an angel therapy practitioner course. I was 22 years old. I had no income at the time because I was really unwell, but I felt really, really drawn to take this course. And it could have been $1 million, to be honest. I had no idea. I just said, I really want to do this. And at the time, I wanted my mum to travel with me because it was over in Ireland. I live in England. It meant that we had to stay in a hotel. It meant that not just the course fees, but all of it was going to be quite extensive. And I remember writing to the lady that was going to sort of assist with the course. And she said, Anna, she said, just get really clear, visualize that you're going to be there, ask the angels to help you. And if it's meant to be, it will be. And I kept pulling. Actually, it was from the first deck that I got was about angels of abundance and trusting. So I really need, and I wrote it down. I wrote the amount that I needed down. And you know what? I manifested the exact amount that I had put on there by doing a sponsored walk. At the time, I could walk maybe 2 to 5 minutes at a time. And people sponsored me. And that is how I was able to go to the course.
Oh, Anna, that's so remarkable.
And do you know
That's,
what? Right now, as we're talking about that, it's 11:11, and that is my sign. So the angels are
mm,
absolutely saying, yes, we did help you. And yes, you can, remember that those things are possible. So if you don't know, and especially with something like money or a course that we really want to do,
yes,
something that really
yeah,
matters to us, I think we can get so like, oh my gosh, it's so much involved and too many details. But I was super clear. I literally went through every expense. I did all the research, how much it was going to be for the flights, how much it was going to be for the hotel, what I needed. And I was really clear on each bit. So that's the other thing I would say. With money, we can say,
clarity.
oh, angels help me with my finances. But that could be £5, couldn't it? That could be
That's
$5.
exactly
That could
right.
be. But actually, what is it that we're really asking for? If something like $1,000 is what you're going to need to be able to further your education, like I did, or go on a trip that really matters to you, then say that. There's no point just saying money.
Yeah. Do the research, get really super clear on yeah, what you
Yeah,
need, right? Like
yeah,
what you actually need.
yeah.
That's such a great story. I love that.
It is, and you know what? It was a great thing because obviously it was miraculous that I could be there in the first place. I was already in that energy.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that I was going to be in this amazing space, and it changed my entire life. It really did.
absolutely it did.
I
Yeah,
don't underestimate that at all. I don't think that I would have the life or the work or the opportunities that I do without that. So it was, and the angels knew that, obviously, didn't they? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. For someone that's very new to, angel work or angel magic or angel healing, where is the best place to begin, do you think? I think the best place to begin is to get your decks and your book and look you up
Well,
and
do you
look
know
up
what?
our
I was going
first
to say
podcast as well.
actually a
Yeah.
really great thing because it's
Yeah.
where I started, and I'm pretty sure you would say the same, is that
Yeah. Same
even
here.
if you start to have little angel experiences. You might see an angel feather. You might see a light out the corner of your eye. Somebody might talk to you about the angels. Sometimes you could have a really profound experience, but other times you're just having a really difficult time and you're like, I just need some help here. And an angel card like mine, like yours, can make all the difference because, like I did in those moments when I wondered about how I was going to get to the course, the angels kept giving me a card that said, trust, you are going to be provided for. And you can't make that up. So there isn't any thinking to do about it. There's no
Right.
deciphering. Are they there with me? Is this
That's
okay?
right.
If
Yeah.
you pull a card from a deck that says, angels of abundance, this is going to happen for you, you're going to trust that a lot more. So I think oracle cards, I always say that it doesn't mean that they are your connection, but they are your reminder that you are connected to the angels when your mind is going to doubt it. Because if you pull a card that says something to you that really resonates with what you're
Yeah.
going through, that really builds up your faith. So then you can say, okay, angels, thank you so much for that message. Give me another sign. Show me a way that I can move forward. So it becomes a stepping stone. And it to me, oracle cards, angel cards are like a key to the door that opens up the
Yeah.
angels'
Yeah.
support and love for you. Yeah.
I love that you said they're a reminder, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
are.
love that.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to
Beautiful.
me, it's so lovely because we live in a human world that's busy,
Yeah.
that's fast, that, even for you and I, sometimes it's nothing like, is there? We're going through something, we'd like a message
Yeah.
for our day, everything's busy, busy. You pull a card and it's like, oh, there it is. Okay, thank you, angels. I can just relax. I can know that they're there and I don't have to try to, do a particularly big practice in that moment. I can just connect and
Exactly.
it's a beautiful way to do that, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
love the way you explain too that often if I'm reading for someone or I'm pulling a card for myself and you ask the same question and you just keep getting that same card, that same answer, like it's almost
I
like
know.
spirit, the angels or spirits going, like we've told you this, right? You just have to
I
trust.
know.
You just have
Yeah,
to trust. So it's
exactly.
going to
I always
happen.
say, in fact, I wrote it on my Facebook page not that long ago. I'm the kind of person that will say, thank you, angels, for that sign. Could you give me a sign about that? Could you just, I just feel like I need another confirmation from you that you are actually talking to me. And it's like, it's just sort of, okay, we'll give it to you again. We'll give it to you again. And lots of people will say that to me. I keep getting the same message. And I say, that's because they're really asking you to pay attention. And if you say thank you, if you really acknowledge it and do your best to follow what they're asking you, then they'll
Exactly.
move on. But if you're not actually paying attention to the
Yeah.
message, you're really distracted by other things, they're going to keep giving you that reminder because they love you and they care about you. Yeah.
Yeah. Often that repetitive message is like, did you hear us? Like, do we have to say it again?
Yep,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah,
know, believe it or
pretty
not,
much.
I
Yeah.
am really stubborn like that.
Yeah.
I want the whole, like, if you're really gonna show up for
Yeah.
me, you better show up for me in a big way. So yeah, I'm sure they know. For someone who works with the angels all the time and connects with them for other people, I'm still someone who really likes to, make sure that I'm getting the message loud and clear.
Beautiful. So there's a lot happening globally at the moment. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but what message do the angels most want our listeners to hear right now, do you think?
Oh, do you know what? Should I pull a card then? Should
Yes,
I pull a
please.
card from the deck? Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna right now say, angels, what would you like us to know, particularly around what's going on in the world? What's most important for us to know as a collective right now? Okay. Oh, okay. It's very similar to what we were just talking about earlier. Number 43, I would say this is one of my favorite messages as well, because it goes along with the vulnerability piece that we talked about. It is safe for you to feel your feelings. Let them move through you like a river. You will not drown, no matter how intense they may be.
Oh, wow.
Despite what you may have been taught, no emotions are wrong. It is when you try to suppress or hide them that they become heavier and have more power over you. Your feelings are simply asking you to listen to what is going on within and around you. As you give them space, it will become much easier to find relief and peace. We are with you. We love you. You're angels. So there is a lot
Those
going
are
on,
words. That's so beautiful. Yeah.
and sometimes we just have to feel it, don't we? There is
We
no
do.
getting around when something is really difficult, painful, shocking. We have to allow that to flow through us. And I often think that really comes with allowing our bodies to move through it as well. Sometimes,
Exactly.
dancing it out, shaking it out, giving
Yes,
ourselves room to, bash a pillow if we need to,
exactly.
talk to a friend. And then
Constructive
we
way
can
to express
actually
it.
do
Yeah,
something about it, can't we, without feeling
exactly.
stuck in it? Yeah.
It's so important to not bypass it, not try and ignore it, not try to suppress it, to actually integrate it, to release it, to do what you need to do to allow it
Yeah.
to move through. I love that. Yeah,
And I think, especially as women, and I can only speak as a woman because I'm not a man, but I think, especially as women, especially with everything that's going on in the world, we need to feel safe to feel, to acknowledge the things that have been hidden, the shame that we have been made to feel, the gaslighting, the manipulation, all the stuff that really goes back eons, eons and eons of time. And we're
exactly.
not
Yeah,
separate from any of it. So whether we live in a certain country, we have certain leaders, we have certain things going on, we're all united, we're all
that's right.
connected. And so, even if we're not actually experiencing some of those things that we might see on the big stage in the world, that is happening in a small way, often in our own lives, or a big way, actually. It can often really bring up those emotions because we're all experiencing very similar things. So, yeah, it's very profound and it's a really deep time. And talking of the full moon, we're right in the full moon in Scorpio when we're recording this. It's very feely. It's very intense. It's very deep. But we're supposed to go into those places, aren't we? Yeah.
Exactly. Like everything's so magnified and amplified at the moment.
Yeah.
And of course, you're quite right. Even if you're not, right in the middle of a war zone, we do have that beautiful kind of connection. We're all interconnected. So yeah, I think it's so important to really kind of work on your own self-care and soothe your own nervous system, because
Yeah.
there is that osmosis and ripple effect. And
Yeah.
in some way, it would be playing out in your own sphere as well. You're quite right,
Yes, it
Anna. Yeah,
does, which is why I
yeah,
think that when we all say, oh, it's been quite an intense time, or oh, I'm going through quite a lot, it's because it is an intense time,
yeah.
It is an intense time to be on the planet, but I also feel like we were made for these times. This is why we're here. This is, the light that we shine is what is needed in the world. And when we can embrace how we're feeling, we can also then inspire others to do the same. We give other people courage to do the same. And also, therefore, we are acknowledging the pain, just like we all do in our lives,
Yeah,
and turning it perhaps into the power that we have, into something that we can share with the world, like I did with these cards, like you've done
exactly.
in your
Yeah,
own life. And it
yeah,
becomes then something, to me, it always feels like if I can share something from pain, it always feels far more purposeful. I'm just that way. I've always been that way. It feels much more meaningful for me to say, this is something I've learned through my pain. I'm going to share it. I don't have all of the answers. But I feel like the cards are really an example of that because they just came out of my own desire to feel more connected, really. And
yeah.
then they've become something that I can share with other people. So I really believe that we're in this time and it doesn't have to make sense. I think a lot of things going on right now won't make sense, but we can find our sense of meaning through some of these things because we are then able to make a difference somehow, aren't we? Yeah.
Absolutely. You're on fire tonight, my love. That's very amazing. I love that. Beautiful. Let's talk about what is lighting you up creatively at the moment. And I also want
Oh,
to talk about what you're offering at the moment too, because I know that you've got a magnificent program and bits and pieces. So, what's sort of lighting you up creatively at the moment,
I
Anna?
was actually just about to say it's kind of one and the same thing because I'm so excited about teaching my Angelic Connection course. It's my 4 week online course, and we start on May the 10th. And every week we have a live session on Zoom about different topics. So, week one is all about meeting your angels and guardian angels, the archangels. Week two is energetic self care, really taking care of ourselves, as we've just talked about, as sensitive beings. Week three is all about opening up our intuitive gifts and using that and understanding the angel signs and angel numbers. And week 4 is using angel cards like mine and how to use them to help yourself and others. And I realize every time I teach this course and every time I'm starting to share it, I'm like, oh, I'm so lucky to be able to do a job that actually lights me up all the time. So I would say it all goes hand in hand with, for me, it's because creativity to me is also just about sharing who we are and what feels natural to us. And sometimes I think we can say, oh, but that's not being as creative as this person because they're an incredible artist or they've created a massive piece of music or whatever it might be. But actually, our gifts are amazing, uniquely, aren't they? And they can feel really natural, like it is for me to talk to the angels. So I would really encourage everyone to do what feels natural to them, what feels joyful. And I'm just lucky that that is my work, really. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that your enthusiasm's so contagious, and I know that that course would be incredibly transformative and amazing. So,
And it feels
even when you
extra
talk about it,
special
it
because this
lights
is
you
the
up,
first.
so it's going to light other people up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the first time that I'm teaching the course when I've got my angel cards out. So to me, there's like an added
Okay.
dimension that feels so personal now because I can say, oh, we can share messages from my cards because
That's
up till
so
now,
good.
it's always been other people's. So yeah, of course, I
Do you
do
think this
still
is
use other people.
something? Do you think this
Yeah.
is something, Anna, that you might roll out again and again?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've done this course for a long time anyway, and it has become
Right.
my signature course. And now it just
Yes.
feels extra lovely because I get to add those layers to
Oh,
my own with my own decks. And I hope to be able to create more and more. And then I'm my sort of my next sort of big dream project that I want to do is to really create angel cards that I can really use to give really those in-depth readings like I do with other people's decks at the moment. So, hopefully in the next couple of years, I'll be able to really share those in a deeper way as well. And yeah, I absolutely think so. I think I would, as long as I, am working with the angels, I'll always teach how to connect and communicate with the angels in various ways because you don't need me to do that. I'm just sharing so that you can actually tap into your own gifts. And that's what I would say. The only difference between me now and me, when I was 22 years old and had no idea is that I just trust it more. I know how the angels
yeah.
speak to me and I want to share that with other people because if we feel more connected to our intuition, if we're
Yeah.
more able to understand how our divine guidance comes through, then we're
Yes.
all going to feel so much lighter. We're going to feel more confident in the steps that we take. We're going to feel
Yeah.
more like everything is possible for us. And when we feel that love and when we feel that connection, to me, the whole world would be different. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that you empower others to also connect to the angels. So it's not like they have to rely on you for that. And I know that you trust it and you've had so much experience with it, and you're that beautiful natural conduit to bring through those magnificent angel messages. But I love that you empower others to do that as well. So beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because there's a lot of misconception still that somehow that you and I have woken up one day and
Yeah.
been given this special gift and that it's for a select few and that's it. Now, of course, we all have more natural abilities. It's like we can all play the piano and some of us are going to be concert pianists and some of us are going to just play little
True.
bits. But I
Yeah.
honestly feel that it's lovely to remind everyone that we can all do this. It's
Yeah.
not a unique thing. Actually, the only difference is that I'm just really curious about it. I'm really excited by it. I really
Yes.
love the fact that it's created so much change for me to be able to talk to the angels, and I want to share that with other people. So yeah, I will never see it as an exclusive thing at all. In fact, if you do, then potentially you're not coming from the right place because we're all connected, aren't we? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
Yeah.
where can people find your gorgeous decks, your offerings, and your beautiful angelic work, my love?
So the best place that you can find me is my website, annagracetaylor.com. If you are in Australia, where Susie is, you can find my both my decks on Blue Angel publisher's website. All the links are also on my website too. I'm really active on social media, especially Facebook and Instagram. So you can also find me there. I do lots of daily angel messages and
Do
weekly
they're beautiful.
messages.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. I feel like, social media is kind of my home that was given
Yeah.
to me to be able to be a messenger. So
Yes.
yeah, I would love to share with you if you're there.
Yes. So beautiful. And your consistency, you actually show up and you're very generous of spirit. And I love that you share so beautifully. And I'm the same way. I feel very grateful for social media. I've been around a lot longer than you. And I think it's fantastic that it's like a free medium where you get to just share your magic. I love that you have gratitude about that. Yeah.
Oh, I do. And actually, that's the other thing is that it can feel, in the times that we're living in, it can feel like an intense thing. But actually, my algorithm and my
Mine's beautiful
community is
too.
filled with beautiful people and love and
Right.
kindness and appreciation. And to me, that's what we create, isn't it? Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think it's so fascinating that, our social media could be quite different to somebody else that's gone down that really dark rabbit hole. So,
Exactly.
my
Exactly. And do you
social
know what
media
I
is,
always say is that's what
yeah,
the block button's for. That's what the delete button's for. If
that's
something
right.
is not very nice,
Don't
I'm
hover
very much
over it.
like this is my house. And if you come
Yes.
into my house and you don't like it, you're
Yeah.
very welcome to leave. And if you're rude, I will block you. Yeah. So,
Beautiful. Oh my goodness, today's conversation has been wonderful. Our first conversation was really incredible too. So it may be worth going back and listening to Anna's first Ask the Oracle podcast with me because Anna shares a lot of her personal story, which is really inspiring. But today has just been like, a beautiful deepening of your beautiful work as well. And I'd love to gift you a card from my new little deck. Here it is.
oh,
um,
yes. Oh,
the
how
Enchanted Garden
exciting.
Oracle. It's also very green and yeah. And the card that I
Magical.
pulled for you, something I prepared earlier, Anna, um, is the beautiful breakthrough card, if you can see that.
I
So pretty.
can.
The beautiful breakthrough card,
Gorgeous.
Neoma. And it's you've reached a cosmic turning point. Destiny stirs and momentum builds. Neoma signals a positive shift, a threshold moment, shimmering with infinite possibility. Step boldly into the unknown. Your breakthrough is already woven into the stars. Cycles have closed, lessons etched. What once tethered you has unraveled. Now, with a steady breath, you're ready to leap. Let doubt become fuel, uncertainty your compass. For each question holds a hidden key. We talked about the key. Rituals help anchor this beautiful new beginning. Journal your rebirth. Create art that pulses with potential. And whatever art is for you, it can be quite unique. Dance beneath the moon's invitation under this beautiful flower moon. The universe conspires in your favor. This card is a stellar activation. The path ahead may twist, but your inner light will rise brighter. Trust the quantum pulse guiding you forward. Each beat is encoded with your soul's blueprint, urging you to expand and evolve beyond expectation. I trust the shift, breakthrough glows in my becoming. So that's just so
Oh, do you know
appropriate and
what? That
so in
is
alignment.
literally could not be more perfect for me, Susie. Absolutely love that so much. I'm going to perhaps get you to send me that message because I think that
Absolutely.
embodies everything that I feel right now. It made me quite emotional to hear that.
Oh, thank you, my love. I love that we get to, share. It's a beautiful co-creative space. And thank you so, so much for coming on. You are an absolute angel. Love and adore your work. And I'm so grateful just for you to share today. So thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Susie. Love and adore you too.
Bye, honey. Thank you for joining us in this beautiful space of wings, whispers, and divine support. A huge, massive, heartfelt thank you to Anna Grace Taylor for sharing her wisdom and her stunning new deck, Messages of Angels. May these teachings remind you that you are guided, held, and never, ever alone. They're Anna's words. Until next time, trust your intuition, follow the signs, and let your angels walk beside you. With love, Suzy and Anna. Yay! Thank you.